What secret will you never tell your parents? I emptied my college fund to help my best friend Trevor, and my parents still don't know. Back when I was 18 and about to graduate, my dad called me into the living room with this huge smile on his face. Mom was sitting there too, both of them looking super proud. Dad slides this bank statement across the coffee table and tells me they'd been saving since I was born. $18,000. I just stared at the numbers. They explained how they'd worked extra shifts at the factory, skipped family vacations, sold Mom's car and got a cheaper one. Dad even picked up weekend construction jobs, all for me. I thanked them, hugged them, told them I'd make them proud. They were so happy they started talking about which community college I should apply to and maybe getting me a used Honda. 2 weeks later, I cleaned out the entire account. But here's the thing, I didn't blow it on stupid stuff. I gave every penny to Trevor. Trevor's mom had cancer for 3 years. Hospital bills destroyed their savings. When she died that spring, Trevor was broke and his dad was already in prison for dealing. Trevor owed $800 in school fees and couldn't graduate without paying. He had nowhere to live after graduation either. The night after the funeral, Trevor called me crying. Said he was thinking about just dropping out, maybe joining his cousin's crew selling drugs. I knew if that happened, I'd lose him forever. So I told him to meet me at the bank the next morning. We sat in that little office with the banker lady, and I transferred everything. Every single dollar my parents had saved. Trevor kept asking if I was sure, and I just told him he'd pay me back someday when he could. Trevor cried right there in the bank. I just shrugged it off like it was no big deal. But then came the hard part, going home and lying to my parents. I told them there was some issue with the account. Bank said it was frozen for review, some technical problem with old deposits. Dad got angry and called the bank, but I'd already talked to my friend Jake, whose dad worked there. Jake had him call and confirm my story. Mom cried. She thought they'd lost my future. Dad spent hours on the phone trying to fix it. I felt sick watching them stress about something that wasn't even real. I told them I'd take a gap year, work for a while until the bank figured it out. They didn't want me to, but I insisted it was fine. I got 2 jobs that summer. Worked at a tire shop during the day and did deliveries at night. Saved up enough to move out and start community college myself. Trevor graduated and got a scholarship to state school. He studied engineering, sent me updates every few months, good grades, making friends, staying clean. But he never mentioned the money. 3 years passed. Trevor graduated college, got a job at some tech company 2 states away. My parents still asked about the frozen account sometimes. I'd just change the subject or say the bank was still working on it. Trevor came back for Christmas last year. He looked completely different. Nice clothes, new car, confident in a way I'd never seen. We grabbed beers at our old spot, and he started talking about his job, his apartment, this girl he was dating. Then he got quiet for a minute, reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope, thick envelope. He slid it across the table and said he'd been carrying it around for 6 months, waiting for the right time. Inside was $25,000, cash. He told me he'd been saving every extra penny since he got his job. Lived like he was still broke, just so he could pay me back with interest. Said he thought about that day at the bank every single morning when he woke up in his own apartment instead of on somebody's couch. I tried to tell him he didn't owe me interest, but he wouldn't listen. Said I gave him his whole life back, so this was nothing. We both cried a little. Then he asked about my parents, if I'd told them what really happened. I said no, they still thought it was a bank error. So I keep the 25 grand in a savings account and tell them I'm doing fine on my own.